All right, so it's March 25th. This is what the yard's looking like after that real low cut. It's definitely greening up some. Obviously, there is still brown in it, like some right there and underneath this tree again. Temps have been warming up. Got one more night that looks like it could be low 30s. It's not tonight. And I've still only applied 3/10 of a pound of nitrogen. So that's what this video is going to be about today. Is I done a video about my fertilizer plans for 2025. It's a few videos back, but this has changed. I'm just not liking what I'm seeing whatsoever. So still some brown there. This only gets sun, good sun basically this time of day, and there's still some right in here which never hardly gets sun. Somebody stowed trash out down there in the bottom. It's always great. So Kentucky bluegrass, it's a rocking and a rolling. Obviously it's Kentucky bluegrass. It's more cold tolerant than fescue, and it's had a lot more nitrogen and better nitrogen sources. So let's go over here and show you what I'm going to be doing here. Now, we'll sit here and look at the bluegrass here and talk. My original plan was to do the Yara, and there's nothing wrong with the Yara, and nothing wrong with it at all. Unfortunately, I'm thinking I may have got a hold of some bad fertilizer. I'm just gonna be honest. I was kind of skeptical when I bought it. The bags are really, really old looking, had pinholes in it, and it's clumped up. And that's nothing Yara's fault. It just could have been sitting a long time. And with urea, there's always a possibility of it, gassing out, volatilizing, stuff like that when it's not sealed up. It draws moisture and stuff, and that starts the process. So I don't know. I will say also that my soil temps are just not what they were this time last year. As I mentioned in another video, it's 3 weeks behind what it was last year. I think I applied pre-emergent last year in February, and this year mid-February, and this year it was the 1st of March. So some of this might be my fault, actually. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. Urea, it really don't start working good until you get 55, 60 degrees average soil temps, and today my 5-day average soil temp is 55 exactly. Now last year and this year, the 3/10 is counting this app. I used nitrate nitrogen and ammoniacal nitrogen last year for 2 apps, and I only used it one time this year. That's all I had enough for, was one time. So either the soil temperature is just not warm enough to convert to the urea to a usable form of nitrogen, or the Yara that I picked up from the company, I won't name the company, it's just gone. It's just too old, and it's just not there. I highly doubt that's the case. Could be, but I'm sure it's lost some over the years sitting there. But anyway, so what we're going to do here is I'm going back with the old tried and true, what I've always used, and that's going to be the Plant Food Company 1834. Now, some of you are going to say this, well, that's urea also. You're exactly correct. That is urea. It's 13.5% urea. But as I mentioned, my soil temps are getting there to where it can convert good or faster now. And, you know, it's 2.25% ammoniacal nitrogen and 2.25% nitrate. The nitrate is instant. That's the main thing you're looking for in cooler temperatures, even though there's not a lot in this. That's what you're looking for in cool temps, is the nitrate. The ammoniacal, you know, it'll work better than the urea for sure in cooler temps. But what I sprayed the first app was, it was a plant food company. It was a 10-4, and it was mainly nitrate. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this through my fertigation tonight. Again, it's extremely dry. I did get about a 1/10 of an inch of rain. I think it was Sunday morning. But I'm going to run this through my fertigation. And I want you folks to understand, you know, the fertigation is just a tool. It's not anything special whatsoever. I mean, you can apply this with a backpack sprayer. You get the same results. I'm just doing it because I've got a big yard and I've got a heavy piece of machinery that I have to spray my yard with, and I'm just trying to stay off of it as much as I can. There's going to be a time to where I'm going to have to be on it a lot with that sprayer when it really starts warming up for fungicide applications, stuff like that. But this is the way I'm applying my nitrogen. I plan on it the whole year like this. And I'll show you how I set all that up. You know, some of you may be interested. Some of you may not be interested. If you can get a fertigation system, I would highly suggest, you know, it's a good thing to have. So it's a very good thing. And one like I got, I think it was $650. So, and I'll show you all this here in a little bit. But so I do want to go ahead and give you a teaser on something else here. I am going to be selling Plant Food Company on my website. It'll be primetimefescue.com. It's not for sale yet. I still got to get the boxes. So understand this. This is only going to be available in 2.5 gallons or 5 gallon cases. Plant Food Company, the smallest thing they make is 2.5 gallons. And I know some of you guys with smaller lawns, you're going to be like, oh, there's no use to buy that. Well, there is a use to buy it, because if you want it and want to try it, because this 2.5 gallons will keep 2 to 3 years. As long as you keep it in temperatures where it don't freeze. I mean, obviously it's best to keep this in a climate controlled, you know, building, garage, something like that. But this will keep 2 to 3 years. As long as you put that lid back on it and you keep it shook up, it'll keep 2 to 3 years. So you can use this 1 year, come back to it the next year, come back to it the next year. And this is not the only product I'm going to be selling. I'm just showing this today for this video. But there's several products loaded on my website already. None of them's for sale just yet. I got to get the boxes like I mentioned. And the fertilizer and the iron, you know, are very, very fairly priced. They're in line with most stuff online prices. Like with this right here, I mean, it's an 1834. I don't spray it because of the micronutrients, but they're in there, and there's also amino acids in it. You can see it right there. So, but they're in line with most other online prices. Some of the biostimulants, if you want the biostimulants, you know, they're a little bit more expensive than some of the others. You know, I'm not trying to bull jive you here. I mean, it is what it is, guys. If you want, in my opinion, the best stuff, you know, this is it. And you know, if you've been watching me any amount of time, I've been using this for years before I ever even thought about selling this stuff. So, and I'm not, if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. I'm not going to push it onto you, but I'm telling you, this is the good stuff. But just remember also, you know, like on these biostimulants, if you want to buy them, I mean, the rates are super low. You're talking 2 to 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So, you know, you need to consider that when you're looking at the price and how long a 2.5 gallon jug will last versus another biostimulant where you can apply 6 to 8 ounces per 1,000 square feet. And I'll go over and make a full video on this with the products I'm going to be selling. And also, I want to say this, grass seed, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. The last cultivar got there today. It is coming soon. I'm hoping within the next week or two, maybe even before that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this here, and I'll pick back up when I start doing the fertigation part. I just want to show you this, how I do this. So stick around and watch that for me. Alright, so I'm out here in my well house. As I mentioned, going to run this 1834 plant food company through my fertigation system. I'm going to do 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen. So 1/10 of a pound of nitrogen with this is 6.71 ounces. So there's a formula to figure this out for this fertigation system. So I've got 30,000 square feet, and it takes 6.71 ounces per 1,000 square feet. So 6.71 times 30 equals 201.3 ounces. So I'm just going to call it 202 ounces. Well, I need to know how many gallons 202 ounces is. So I'm going to convert that. I've already converted it. So 202 US fluid ounces is 1.578 gallons. So now, with this fertigation system, this is the way you do this. You want to do the amount you want to put down. So 1.578 divided by the hours runtime for your irrigation system. Mine will be running 6.1 hours divided by 6.1 equals 0.258. So this fertigation pump pumps 1.5 gallons per hour. So now I'm going to divide this number by 1.5, and that comes out to 0.17. So that 0.17 is what I need to set this fertigation system to on the dial. Now, I automatically know that this pumps 1.5 gallons of water per hour. That's water. Water weighs 8.34 pounds per gallon. This plant food company weighs 10.6 pounds per gallon. So I automatically know from doing this that it's not going to pump 1.578 gallons in that amount of time. So what I've done is I bumped it up to, it called for 17%, so I bumped it up to 22% on that dial. right there. And that's how I set the rate. That's how I figure out how much I'm putting down. And that's what's so good about this system. You set the rate. So, this is the foot valve. I'll plop it down in to the fertilizer. And what I got to do now is I got to take this syringe, and I've got to bear with me here because I can't show this and do this part. I got to take this syringe and I got to prime this liquid into the pump. And unfortunately I can't. I've only got two hands, so I'm gonna cut this off and I'll show it to you when it's primed up here. Alright, so I've got this primed up. You can see this is the 1834. Got it in the syringe, so it's primed through the system. I'm gonna reach up here and I'm gonna shut this valve off. You have to open that up to prime it so it'll pull it through. That's done. So I'm just going to remove that, and I'm going to squirt the 1834 back down into the jug. So that's all there is to this system. Now I'm going to hit that right there, and it's going to go ahead and inject some into the line for when the irrigation starts. This fertigation system don't come on, well, I should say it comes on automatically as soon as my irrigation starts, and it turns off when my irrigation stops. This is hooked directly into my irrigation box, so into the master valve part of the irrigation box. So that's it for that. Like I mentioned, guys, you know, please don't think because I got this stuff, you know, it's something you can't do or you're not going to get the results. It's not. You can take this right here and you can spray it on your yard with a backpack sprayer. I would recommend at least 1 gallon per 1,000 calibration. You can get the same results. I simply just doing this because I've got a big yard, and you know, I don't want to put all this heavy equipment on it throughout the whole year. So this is an easier way for me to do some applications versus me having to drag my steel green sprayer out that weighs 1,600, 1,700 pounds full of, you know, water and my whatever else I'm spraying. You know, over the course of time, that, especially around the perimeter where the tire track rides in the same place, you know, that causes compaction and wear and tear. So, you know, this is the reason why I'm doing this. So, I mean, if you spray your yard with a backpack sprayer, you know, that's completely fine. You're going to get the same results. So, I hope I explained that good enough. But, so what I'll do is, I'll cut this off here and we'll pick back up in the morning with the irrigation running. Alright, we're out here the next morning here. I guess about 8 o'clock in the morning. Still got 2 more zones to run after this one. So there's the 1834. And it should have, when it's finished, like 0.9 gallons left. So up here was 2.5 gallons. And I got my finger on the mark. That's 1 gallon, so it should be somewhere right in here when it's finished. So it's looking like it's going to be about the right rate. And like I said, I've done this before, so I kind of know. But so there it is. It's pumping it into the main line, and so I've made up my mind. This is what I'm going to use the rest of the year. I'll do 1/10 of a pound every 2 weeks from here on out of that. As I mentioned, I mean, you know, I don't know if anything's wrong with the yard or not. There's a ton of people that use that. The only thing that worries me is, you know, the bags had some little holes in it, and you know, it's urea. So, and if you know anything about urea, you know, it can volatilize if it gets some moisture on it or something, and there's definitely some clumps in it. So I'm just not going to take a chance with it. The only reason why I tried to use it anyway is just because it's so cheap. But you know, sometimes being cheap don't work, and also, you know, it just could be the wrong temps for urea. Probably is. Sometimes I have a brain fart myself when I'm doing this, but I know with this having some nitrate in it and ammoniacal, you know, it's going to see a little bit better response in cooler weather. You know, the Yar's got a little ammoniacal in it, not very much, but it's getting warm enough now to where you should see something out of urea also. But let's see here. So we are running, still a pumping. You can still hear it a pumping. So that should get it rolling pretty good. Hopefully get a little bit better color. It's just not very dark. And as I mentioned, you know, it's 3 weeks behind what it was last year easily. I mean, last year this time of year, a lot of the trees had leaves, and some of them those have some leaves. So like the Bradford pear, it is getting some leaves, but last year at this time it was about full leaves. So definitely a little bit cooler this year than it has last. But anyway, so that's the video. I just wanted to update you guys on what my nitrogen plans were, and you know, tell you about the plant food company and me selling it. If you want to buy it, that'd be great. If you don't, that's all right also. I mean, I ain't hardly making any money on it. I just thought I'd offer it because I have folks saying they can't get what I use, and I've told you from the beginning you can get it. You're just gonna have to buy it in larger quantities. But so I'll offer it in 2.5 gallons if you want it like that. Gonna get wet here. That's the smallest you can get it either way, smallest quantity. And like I mentioned, you know, it'll keep for years as long as you don't let it freeze. I will make a video when I start selling the plant food company and the grass seed, so just be looking out for that. It should be very soon. So I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.